How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today, by popular demand, we have the side deck guide for Branded. These are the cards you would want to consider when playing Branded for your side deck. Before we begin, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you are new as always, and the purpose of this video is not to give you the one side deck for your Branded deck, because that's impossible. It depends a lot on your build, what you're playing against, what do you think you lose most to, what your local scene looks like, what your tournament scene looks like. It depends on a lot of things. So I think these overall cards sort of like cover the entirety of what you can usually play when you're playing Branded. So I'm going to go over each one of these. You see some of these are grouped up to like specific groups, and tell you why I think you should play them and when I think you should play him, actually. So let's start with these wonderful three. If you want 5% off any single or sealed product and want to support me and the channel, head over to tier0games.com and use code GALZO5 at checkout. Artifact Scythe, we have Branded Expulsion, and we have Ra's Disciple. So these two I'm going to keep to the side for a minute. Artifact Scythe. I think if you are playing Artifact Scythe, you should be playing it with Artifact Sanctum. I think it's one of the better going first options you can have in the game currently. It's not easily interruptible, and I think that if you do play like out of all your deck, all of your side deck, I should say, if you're playing one set of cards for going first and the rest for going second, which is I think what you should do, then fitting in 3 Sanctum and 1 Sight, or two Trap Trick, 1 Trap Trick, 2 Sanctum, and 1 Sight, which is also okay. It's a very good option. And I think the other thing is Ra's Disciple. So if you don't know this, Branded Expulsion basically lets you summon 2 monsters from your banished zone to each field. So you summon Ra's Disciple, which says that you cannot tribute this monster, and you cannot special summon monsters. So you give this to your opponent, and they're locked. The problem with this lock specifically is that you play suboptimally to get to a point where you resolve this, and that's what I kind of don't like about this at the moment. So you could play like this package or the Scythe package in your side deck. I think 2 cards is absolutely fine if you know you're going against a deck that won't interrupt you, and that this basically means you won the game. So if that is the meaning of playing these 2 cards and you are certain about that when you're going up against your opponent, then yeah, put in these 2, and it's a 2-card side deck option that gives off a lot of benefit. So Scythe, Disciple, and sort of like the lock package. This guy, Branded can run Shifter in the side deck, and I think you should. This plays around, obviously, tier elements, and Branded can actually play around Shifter or like while under Shifter. So I think that Shifter specifically, if you're going to a big tournament, Shifter should probably be a 3-of in your side deck, if we're being honest. So I don't think there's a lot to talk about Shifter specifically. Banshee. Again, a package that I really like, and I think that is also really good. I think that Banshee, or like specifically Zombie World, does 3 things well. 1, it prevents Totally Awesome, because it needs 2 Aqua Monsters. 2, it makes tier elements go in circles to get rid of this card, because they can't fuse and go for tier elements monsters. They can still do things like Garura, which is the only fusion that they can do using their monsters, because all of their graveyard monsters and on-field monsters are zombies. They can use a monster from the hand, but then they would probably have to go for a Mod Dragon. But they can't go into tier elements fusion monsters because they all require Aqua type monsters, and they just don't have them. This is why it's so good. And of course, the third thing is Flunder. It kills Flunder if they don't have an out to it. So we just saw Pac's video a few days ago, or maybe this comes up before that, but Pac is playing 3 World and 1 Banshee, which kind of helps because if you want to go for the Banshee, you have to go into a really suboptimal line of like sending Banshee off Brand Fusion, but then you don't get no Tragedy, no Lubellion, nothing like that. So consider this when you're playing it, but I do really like this in my side deck currently. Sphere mode, and I'm going to put Lava Golem in here as well. I think this is... let me take this out, actually. I think these serve a similar purpose. They get rid of a board. This one prevents you from normal summoning for the turn, which means that you cannot normal summon Oliver, you can't set an Albaz. So if you do have a way to special summon like a branded opening, this is fine to run. Against things like Sprite, Dark Rule in normal would probably be your only bet to break that board. So consider that when you're playing against things that are like really combo negate heavy, because these two don't do a lot against tier, I suppose. They do clear the board, but they have so much interruption from the back row, from the hand, from the graveyard, that maybe it's not entirely worth it. The next thing is this. You should always have some sort of back row removal. It again depends on your locals, depends on your decks that you're playing against consistently, but I do like a combination of like 2 Twister, 1 Duster, for example. Or 2 Cosmic, 1 Duster. It fills up a fifth of your extra deck. Is it a fifth? A fifth of your side deck. And it deals with like things like anti-spell, for example. You sort of have to, like if you get anti-spelled, you need to have these in your hand or you automatically lose when it comes to branded. And anti-spell again, evenly matched. It's not good only against things like anti-spell. It's good against things like Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which also really kills this deck. So consider that. The reason I'm kind of iffy about it right now, I do play it currently. It's really good against things like Flunder, but then again, you enter the battle phase, you try to enter, you summon the Apex Heavy, and then you're screwed and you're left with this in the hand. It's kind of bad with BYSTIALs. This is the same thing with Lightning Storm. I suppose they are both in like the same category. It's hard playing BYSTIALs in these cards. And of course, you know, Sprite has negates for this. And Tier has crime for this. So I think 3 Lightning Storm is what I would go with currently and not evenly matched because I don't want to, you know, skip my battle phase. I really like Droplet. It's good against things like, you know, when somebody locks you with like an Ibly. It's good against Barry Statue. It's good when you're going into boards and activating cards and sending them as tribute, as cost for Droplet. I think it's also a very solid card overall. I kind of don't like not playing Droplet in my side. It kind of leaves me like super vulnerable, I feel. So this is my thoughts on Droplet. I would maybe play 3 of these. Because like if I don't play 3 Zombie World, after that we're gonna put together a side deck. Then Droplet is great. You need to play 3 of these in your side deck. This is sort of like the end of the story. Super good going first, really good also going second. Amazing board breaker, gives you tons of utility, gives you what you need in the moment. And I think this is a must-have 3 off in your side deck. Ghost Girls. We have 2 of them. We have the Dogwood and we have the Bell. So in a tournament environment, this is sort of like a must-have. If you go against like decks like Tier, decks like Sprite that can actually grind against you, and your deck as a branded player can grind insanely good, then you need to have this to not lose in time. Ghost Bell is a sort of like a defensive card in addition to being offensive. So you can prevent things like tier limits, obviously. You can even negate Totally Awesome with this, if you didn't know. But it also prevents players from interacting with your Branded in Red, Branded Banishment, you know, things in the graveyard, the Bellion to shuffle back. So it is a defensive card. It's very popular in the side deck right now, so consider that definitely. And DDV and Epidemic. these saw a little bit of play recently. But, and of course, Branded can utilize these because you always have those big dark monsters to tribute. The problem is that you don't really have things to go against that are really good. Runic is not seeing that much popularity. Sprite is like okay. You definitely don't want to destroy Tier Elements cards in general. So, kind of leaves more to be desired, and I don't think like viruses are the play for this format, maybe. A Pointer is a really good one-of if you need to fill in a spot. It's still an extremely good card that I can't believe was even a 3. People weren't playing it at all. But overall, if you need to fill in a spot and you're missing like one card in your side deck, A Pointer is the one. And the last thing is a really good going first card. I mean, Solemn Judgment is just like exceptional in overall, right? There's no reason not to think that this is a good card. The life point, payment is a thing. It definitely hurts, but I think overall, if you are looking for like a very solid, like, you know, let's not get even lead because this deck suffers from it, then yeah, Solemn Judgment is definitely a good pick for you, in my opinion. So I think this is like a good variety of cards. Probably what I would play is this package, not 3 Zombie World, just these 2. 3 Shifter, 3 Droplet, 3 Talents, and then 1 A Pointer, and I have 3 additional cards that probably are Lightning Storm. I think this is like the one option that you can go with that is very balanced and solid and goes against a lot of things. Maybe you can swap out Droplet for the, you know, for Dark Ruler no more, maybe to break boards more easily and not give up card advantage. But this is a pretty solid option in my opinion. Let me know if there are cards that you play that I haven't covered here, and I would really like to hear that in the comments from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to support the channel further, head over to tierzerogames.com. Use code GALZO5 at checkout for 5% off. And of course, click the join button below this video to maybe become a member. Get awesome badges, awesome rewards, shoutouts in videos, exclusive members only live stream and chats, and many more. So check that out as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.